Well, welcome back to the channel. Today I have got lovely flowers which have been delivered from my colleagues in Cornwall, and I'm waiting for some tulips to arrive from Lincolnshire, and I thought I'd show you how I unpack my flowers and put them to have a nice drink. Condition is the floristry term, before making my arrangements for this week's commissions. It's the 11th of January. It is the birthday, the first birthday of my YouTube club. So happy birthday to the clubbers. Very exciting. Hello clubbers, happy birthday. It's the 11th of January and I'm going to go around the garden and cut some foliage to go with these flowers that I've ordered up. I choose not to have flowers to harvest from my flower farm. Officially, my season is April till the beginning of April to the end of September. It always starts a bit earlier than that and always finishes a bit later than that, but that's the official. And in between times, for the 6 months between, if I need extra stock, I order up from my Cornish colleagues. They are a couple of hours further west from here, and they don't freeze because they are pointing into the Atlantic. So they have much longer season than we do. I could force my season to be longer, but to be honest, I'm a bit knackered. I've had enough. So during the winter months, I let my Cornish colleagues take the strain, and in the summer I grow nearly all of the flowers that I harvest. My boundaries, if you like, my parameters within which I operate are British grown flowers. So I'm happy to buy in from my neighbours, from my near colleagues, from anybody who grows flowers that I would like to use in my designs within the UK. And I think it's really helpful if you're a business of any kind to have parameters within which you operate, because it means that you can then say no to a lot of work. But also in my case, that means that I feel as though I'm doing my bit for the environment. Floristry can be a costly to the environment business, believe it or not. You imagine floristry to be all about lovely flowers grown outside and arranged in vases and put in somebody's house. But in fact, a lot of flowers, not all, but a lot of flowers are grown in very heavily chemicaled way, not all, some. Many flowers are flown a very long way in order to satisfy our desire for example, roses out of season. And that's fine. Everybody has a choice, and we can all choose what we consume, when and how. But people who come to me to be my customers cannot have roses out of season because I can't get them. There are no UK growers producing roses out of season. So I just say no. It's, in a way, it makes life much easier because, I'm very clear about my product, and it means that my customers can be very clear about what they're getting from me. And I like that, and I think most of my customers like that. Anyway, I'll get off my high horse, put away my soapbox, and let's get on. And if you're new to the channel, you're very welcome. Please subscribe, press the bell icon, and we'll let you know when we've got more clips coming up. And if any of the tips and tricks we give you along the way are useful, you can always buy me a coffee, or better still, join my club, which is having its first birthday today. Hooray! The link to club membership and coffee buying are in the blurb to all my clips. Right, on we go. Right, first we need clean buckets. Now you might think I would just reach to my pile of buckets and grab one, but I am not the only person who uses the buckets in this studio, and often they are put away not especially clean. This one is full of earth and twigs for no good reason. So I just put into my time that I'm going to have to wash up my buckets before I start unpacking my flowers. So that's number one job. It's always exciting opening the box. No. Even though, no, you do know, obviously you know, because you've ordered the flowers up. But you never quite know how perfect, how exciting. It's a thrill opening a box, always. It's like a Christmas present. Now, for anybody who says that the floral industry is very wasteful with plastic, look, all these flowers have come padded with shredded paper and wrapped in newspaper, which is absolutely fantastic because I don't have to recycle any plastic here. This is all just wrapped in paper. Thrilled with it. So all the paper can go to be recycled or used to start a fire. This is great fire lighting. So I'll put this all to one side and keep it. Now, when you're unwrapping flowers, be very gentle pulling them out of the box. These are anemones and they do not look $1 million, but worry not. We've got anemones, I've got some tulips, Sweet William, unbelievably efficient, look at that. Pink Sweet William, how lovely. In January, grown in Cornwall, look at that. So I'm just going to take everything out of the box and lay it on my surface here before processing. And the processing is very simple. I'm just going to snip the ends of the stems about this much, a couple of inches, so that I'm reopening the cellulose drinking cells by snipping them open again, and then they will be able to drink and recover from the rigours of their journey. So when you're buying flowers from somebody, do remember you're not just buying the stem. If you're thinking about flowers and how much they cost to you, the customer, they've been planted in earth that possibly has a mortgage on it, or somebody's paying rental on it. There's the bill, must pay that. £163.78, including VAT and delivery for all of this. You've got to remember that somebody chose the varieties, pink tulips, that they thought you would enjoy. They thought they'd be able to sell. They had the land, they either rented it or they were paying a mortgage on it or have worked hard to pay for it over the years. The labour has gone into planting and maintaining, watering, looking after. Labour has gone into possibly feeding the plants, feeding the soil. Look at these lovely paper white narcissi. Oh, gorgeous. And time and energy has gone into harvesting them. And these flowers will have been harvested, these anemones will have been harvested and carefully wrapped and put in water and conditioned at my suppliers. These are B.J. Richards in Cornwall. Before then being wrapped in bunches carefully so that they'll travel well. And then they've been collected by the courier, they've been delivered here. I'm spending time unwrapping them. I'm going to process them and then I'm going to make my arrangements. So, and that's before anything else has happened. So now you understand perhaps why flowers are not cheap. They shouldn't be cheap anyway. So, and if they are very cheap, sometimes it means that the people who are looking after them are not being paid enough. So it's worth thinking about. Right, here are my lovely anemones. Lovely long stems of these Cornish anemones. And I'm going to just snip a little bit off the stems So to reopen the drinking cells so that they can open up a little bit. And I'm going to snip the stems of all of them except not the narcissi and not the tulips, because snipping the stems of them often makes them come out too quickly. And also the narcissi has a very glaucous sap. Actually the tulips do too. I have a glaucous sap which can be poisonous, is poisonous. But I'm really not snipping them. The reason I'm not snipping them is not because the sap is poisonous. I don't mind about that. I'm not snipping them because I don't want them to come out too quickly. So without snipping them, I'm just going to put them in a bucket of water and they're just going to sit there. They will get snipped when I make my arrangements. So the tulips and the narcs don't get snipped, but everything else does. And any bulbous material I get delivered, I don't snip. I'm sure some people would say that was wrong. And they can say what they like. This is the way I do it, and it works for me. So no snipping of the tulips. But they'll get snipped when they're put into the arrangements. Right, I'm just going to finish this off, and then we'll head up the field and see what we've got. The reason I'm unpacking the flowers first is A, it's good for them, but B, it's very frozen outside. So I'd quite like the outside to have warmed up enough before I go starting to harvest the Lonicera fragrantissima. Right, I'm cutting for 8 jars, 2 table centre sized arrangements and 2 large vases for the house and 1 extra large. I've got all those flowers that I ordered in, so that's great, and now I need foliage. It's the 11th of January, so it's very important it doesn't look Christmassy or actually frozen. So let's go see what we can find. Plenty of ivy around if you look for it. Challenge is not to get blinded by the low light when looking up for good stems. This time of year, hazel catkins are lovely in arrangements. There they are, bright lit in front of the Monterey pine, which gets the rest of the year off now until next Christmas. Oh look, here's treasure. Lonicera fragrantissima. You hardly need any because the scent is so glorious. Oh, have a little of this, thank you. Griselinia has a lovely springy colour. Look at the yellow. The yellow stems make it very fresh looking. So we'll have some of that. Ooh, look, peonies popping. Right, that'll do. The brachioglossus sometimes really struggles in cold weather. It looks a bit bruised, but okay today. Right, let's take it all back to the studio. There's the new studio behind me. Still working my way back to the old one. Soon the new studio will be finished. Oh, it's been a long but quite exciting haul. It's the last big project we'll do here at Common Farm. We bought the place pretty derelict in 2004 and have been slowly working our way through, you know, putting roofs on things and mending things and rebuilding things and transforming things for Granny to live in and all of that. Nearly there. So I've cut everything and brought it back. I've just put the Griselinia and the brachioglossus in water. It doesn't really need it. It'll be fine. I'm making the flowers straight away. But it's just sort of keep it tidy for me. And I've put the winter flowering honeysuckle in water as well, just to stop it getting trodden on or squashed. But the rest of the stuff, the foliage, is in my trolley. And as I make the arrangements, I can just pick the pieces out as I go. Very cold weather hair going on here. Now, I always work to order, so I know what I've got to do. So I've split all my material up, and I'm going to start with 2 big arrangements. I'm just going to work through quite fast because I've got another YouTuber. I've got a meeting in 50 minutes to be interviewed by another YouTuber. Very nice. Hello, Catherine. See you shortly. And so I'm going to get as much as I can done in the meantime. I'm going to put you on the Whizzy Whizzy. Now, I appreciate not everybody likes the Whizzy Whizzy, but I'm conscious that otherwise my clips would be so long, it would go on and on and on. So I'm going to put you on the Whizzy Whizzy. If you prefer, I'm sure there's a way to slow things down so you can see things. But do please also know that I have lots and lots of very specific floristry demos and workshops, and you can look at my website and possibly book some. And we've done this year, we've bundled some together so that you can, if you order 2 or 3, you get a discount. Because it works well for people. So for really specific floristry demos, please do look at the website. This is just to give you an idea of how I work and how I'm not the only florist who works like this. So it gives you an idea of how florists work. So do slow it down if you want to, but equally, I'm going to put some music. I appreciate some people really loathe the music. Some people really love the music. So if you loathe the music, mute it. If you love the music, who knows what I'm going to find this time. Anyway, on we go. I've got no time. I better get on. Oh yes, so I'm going to do the 2 big ones, the 2 big small ones, the 8 small ones, and then the last big one. That's my order. Work at speed. Ready, steady, go. Done. Only the big ones. Time is flying by, but the telephone keeps ringing and life keeps getting in the way. Anyway, I like them. In the end, they've just got tulips and white narcissi. Very chic, very stylish. So the posies are going to be much flowerier. But I will personally, I like the contrast. And luckily, my client kind of just says, can I have my flowers this week? And this is how many I would like. And then kind of leaves it up to me to do what I like. So aren't I the lucky one? But anyway, white tulips and white narcissi and white scented Lonicera fragrantissima, winter flowering honeysuckle. If only there was smell-o-vision, because they smell, the honeysuckle smells so gorgeous that, I mean, it almost makes you want to eat it all up. Right, posies. Telephone kept ringing. And then I had my lovely first birthday party of my YouTube club, and we had our first meeting of the year, and wasn't it fun, everybody? So I'm back here now to finish off. I've still got 8 posies to make and 1 more large arrangement. So I'm going to make them. You've seen what I've made so far, and the light in here isn't very good. There's always an interesting kind of tension in making YouTube clips about what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to do. My channel is purposefully kept pretty low tech because this isn't my job. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a florist and a flower farmer, and I run a small business. And I film what I do as I go, and I'm very excited that people find it interesting, but I think it's really important to just be myself and be what I'm actually doing and do what I really do. and not sort of turn it into anything else. So the light in here is rubbish at 8 o'clock in the morning on the 12th of January. But as you can see, it's ever so slightly warmer than it was yesterday, so that's a good step. So it's not fun light for filming. So I'm going to make my posies and I'll show you everything when I've finished. Look, they're the big ones. I can't tell you the scent. If you've got room in your garden for a Lonicera fragrantissima, apart from anything else, look, how pretty is that? Just a vase of stems, and the scent is, I mean, it's almost worth being January for the scent. Anyway, better get on, and I'll see you when I've finished. So very fresh whites for the dining table and the drawing room. And then the rest of the posies get dotted around the house and go in bedrooms and things. So they're going to have pink. It's always good to soften the skin tones to be around pink. And that's my lovely mug. They're made by a girl called Rachel Pedder Smith, and they have lovely botanical designs on them. I absolutely love these mugs. Bone china, and big enough to get, you know, half a pint of coffee in. This is very typical of the way I work. I have various ingredients that I decide in advance I'm going to do things with, and then I change my mind as I work. So this is a very, very dinky little bedroom posy. Sweet, absolutely sweet. And I haven't put, I did cut a lovely long stem of the Lonicera for all of the posies, so they'd all have one in. And I've changed my mind. I'm going to just put these lovely long stems of Lonicera into the bigger arrangements. And so the scent of it will be in the dining room and the drawing room. And the bedrooms will have scent in these lovely little paper white narcissi as they come out. And the posies don't look much now, but they're full of buds, and they're going to a very warm house. These are rather 5-star people, so they have plenty of central heating, unlike me. And so the flowers will pop, literally, you'll put them in the bedrooms and they'll pop. The tulips will grow, the narcs will come out. Suddenly this will be a much more generous looking posy. Look, little anemones there, ready to pop. All of these things will happen, but for the moment they look like it's a secret treasure, this posy, because it's about half the size it'll be when it all comes out. The awful thing is, I love tiny arrangements. I love small perfection. Somebody on here once said, "Did you have a doll's house as a child?" Yes. I like playing with little things, fine motor skills, focusing in on something little. I think it's very good for one's mental health. Making these is cheering me up no end, and I don't feel Friday morningish at all anymore. I mean, just how sweet is that? I mean, really, just a few stems, just dinky. You don't need great, big, enormous arrangements. Have something small, delicate. Small is good. Big is showy. That's what I'm saying on this Friday. Go small. Actually, maybe that could be this weekend's 30 stem challenge. This is actually about 25 stems. Make yourself a tiny posy. Make tiny perfection. That's the challenge for this weekend. Okay, I challenge you. Go into the garden, find little things, tiny little things, and make something minute that you can just sort of meditate upon, as though it were a salt mandala. Go on, I dare you. I love a mass of posies. They're like a carpet of posies. You could do this if you were having a party or something. You could make a load of small posies and then just put them on a surface together, and they make a kind of carpet. I think every time I do this, which is practically every week, I think this is very attractive. And very occasionally there's space in a church to do this as a carpet of posies around the bride and groom when they get married, and it looks so lovely. Never give yourself too much time. So I'm now fiddling around pudging the bigger posies. Pudging is a technical term which was given me by a lovely girl called Emily Matcham, who used to work here. And it's a family term that they have, and they say if something needs pudging, it's just, it's pretty much done, but it just needs a little bit of a fiddle. Anyway, these posies were perfectly all right, really nice, and I'm now pudging them for no good reason. But we're very nearly there, and then I've got one more arrangement to make. Right, so they're 8 sweet little bedroom posies, love them. 2 large arrangements full of Laniceras fragrantissima for gorgeous spring and winter, delicious scent. 2 fat posies for the table, and one more to come. And so they'll be reaching up to the top of the rest of the material. The Sweet Williams will come out into sort of flat plates of white lace. Very pretty. The scent of the Lanicera fragrantissima is just gorgeous. And they will shed, they will drop when they're finished. But this is going to #1 Bruton, and they would rather have real garden flowers than anything that would just stick on as though I've glued it on with copy decks. It's good to film because you see what you're doing. You can see stuff. Weirdly, you look through the camera's lens and you can see if notice things that you wouldn't necessarily otherwise notice. Right, I need to deliver this. So there we have it. That's what a florist out of season does. Or this florist, anyway. I hope you've enjoyed the session. I have the little ideas and so on that we've had today. Please do have a go doing something tiny this weekend. Go into the garden and see if you can find one snowdrop, one little stem of something, a little bit of twiggery pokery. And if you do a 30 stem challenge, there's a hashtag 30 stem challenge. Do share it on your Instagram if you're on Instagram. And if you tag me at Common Farm Flowers, I'll share some of them on my stories. Anyway, have a lovely day, everybody. Friday. On we go. Bye-bye.